Everybody, this is Chase Butiche. Hello, everybody. This is Chase Butiche with Oracle Podcast. How's it going? This is for the forecast for the coming week, June 9th through 15th, 16th, 15th. I can do math. I swear to God. Not really. Kind of a joke. How's everybody doing today? I'm feeling, energetic update, and then we're going to get into the astrology. I'm feeling pensive today. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling a new clearing. Still working through, this year the snake is kind of no joke. At least not for me, and I'm not sure about you guys. It's funny because it's a 5-year, it's got a 5 energy to it. It's a 9-year. It adds up to 9, which is a completion, but it's got a 5 energy, which is like the energy of moving from one paradigm to another. And I'm 41, and so it's a 5-year for me. And I just can feel it, but I'm pretty sure we all feel it. I mean, we all just are feeling what's going on, which is like massive shifts. And kind of bigger than ever before. That's how it feels for me. Bigger than ever before. And I've really been doing a lot of deep diving into, I did a lot of deep diving into the astrology, but last week, I think I told you guys, like my sister's dog, who was my dog, his name was Ocean. He was part wolf. He left. He chose to move on. My sister and I have worked through it. We've had a lot of conversations, but for some reason it like struck this really intense chord in me about wildness and freedom. And it also like helped. I was having like literal this last week, I was having like authentic awakening moments where I was understanding the nature of reality in a way I never had before. And just looking at this astrology, it fits in so well with the downloads I was getting this week. So I'm going to share some of them. So one of the big things that's happening this week is that, and people have been talking about this in astrology like crazy, is that Jupiter's going into Cancer, and it's in traditional astrology, it's exalted in Cancer. So it's about this, and it hasn't been there since 2013, 14 in that placement. So I think it spends 12 years. It's going to spend a year there. So or it's going to spend 12 years. Yeah. Anyway, they'll spend a little bit over a year there. So what that means, Cancer, Jupiter rules expansion, growth, opportunity. It rules, luck, faith. But it also is like aligned with it's in the sign of Cancer, which is Cancer is the home, it's the heart, it's how we nurture ourselves, it's how we take care of ourselves and others. And it's funny because that's kind of one of the big downloads I've been getting is that with this Jupiter in moving into Cancer, there's going to be like a new energy around like really surrendering to how we take care of ourselves and the non-grind. So that's kind of what I've been getting a lot from a lot of my clients, is that there's kind of an internal shift happening where people are they're energetically moving out of grind culture, and they're for the first time in their lives, understanding what it means to like receive and be in the present and like not feel this immense pressure and like rushing and exhaustion to perform and compete. I mean, of course, this isn't every human on the planet, but what I'm seeing is that this is kind of the reset that is happening, and Jupiter moving into Cancer. So whatever Jupiter touches, it expands, it enlivens, it nurtures, it brings growth and prosperity too. And, you know, Cancer is traditionally the sign of the mother. So it's really going to go deep into this deep nurturance. You know, in astrology, you know, the archetype of the father is Capricorn. That's how we perform out in the world. It's materiality, it's ambition, it's career, and there's a lot of structure and control and boundaries. And the mother is much more about the internal, you know, the energetics, how we nurture, how we intuitively feel, how we receive, and it's the yin and yang. So it's going to be a time of deep expanding of yin energetics. And it's already kind of happening. You know, we got the year of the snake here coming online. Hello. And what I've been feeling this year just so intensely is that, like, we're being asked to really release. It's a time of surrender. Like, it's a time of really releasing these old ways. You know, it makes me think of the card in the tarot of the Hanged Man. The Hanged Man is very much about flipping one upside down and kind of releasing. Oh my God, it's so funny. I just realized I bought an inversion table where you literally hang upside down. I haven't set it up yet. Wow. But yeah, it's like that energy where you literally release kind of you let gravity kind of you hang yourself from another perspective. You shift your dynamic. You move in another way. Like, we're being asked to surrender at levels that we've never quite experienced before. And that's also part of the downloads that I've been getting just over the past week about like wildness and the recalibration of wildness inside of us, and Mother Nature kind of starting to return in us as the reclamation of our own nature, if that makes sense. And, you know, really. So, okay, the other thing that's happening this week with astrology on the full moon. So we have a full moon, and on the full moon, Jupiter will be going into Cancer. So, and it's going to be conjunct, I believe, Mercury, which also means, let me just look at this real quick. No, it's not. It's going to be... Oh, yeah, no, it will. Yeah. Oh, it's not conjunct Mercury quite yet. Yeah, no, it is. It is, actually. Sorry, guys. I'm trying to get my shit straight. But, so with that, there's going to be this evolution of and deep kind of foundational trust in the Cancerian energetics. So, which has a lot to do with the mystery. So the other thing that's happening on this full moon is there's a mutable cross. So North Node, the moon, South Node, and the sun are all going to be in a tension aspect, but it's not necessarily bad. It's happening on the full moon though. It's not, you know, it's a full moon in Sagittarius, so it's going to be highlighting these, and it's crossed by the nodes, which are the destiny nodes. They're how where we're heading collectively. So they're all being activated on this full moon. So it's the node axis is the south node, where we're leaving is Virgo, where we're moving into is Pisces. And then it's the sun and the moon, and they're all in this square. They're all kind of charging each other. And it has a lot to do with perception versus faith, control versus surrender. And, you know, at its deepest, it's activating the North Node, leaving behind, you know, Virgo is very much the material. It's needing to have things in perfect kind of order and alignment and organization, and to be able to function correctly. And it's moving into Piscean waters of the unknown. And that translates perfectly into the downloads that I've been getting around wildness and the spiral and human consciousness, and how to, when you're truly in tune with nature, Mother Nature, which Cancer in a lot of ways is Mother Nature. Taurus and Cancer would be connected to the feminine archetype. Cancer is the moon, Taurus is Venus. When you're truly in tune, you are in a place of surrender to the unknown. And it's really starting to trust what information you are being given. Like, if you're getting inspired in a certain way, or you feel intuitively led in a certain direction, following that. So the spiral, I have this ring that's a spiral and I love it, and it helps me think about the spiral. It helps me think about is the spiral is the one thing that we as all of humans can agree on as the natural outforming and energetic functioning of this universe, if that makes sense. The spiral is, it works in a wave formation. It's the Wheel of Fortune archetype. It rises and it falls, but it's always expanding itself every single time, coming back to the old, revisiting and integrating, and then expanding from there. And I can tell you, this year has felt like no joke with that. It's like the last week we had these solar flares that really, really upgraded our system. They brought more light to our energy body, which when you were getting integrated, when solar flares come and hit the planet, we're electricity. It's not like they're not hitting us. It's affecting all the electricity on the planet. Why wouldn't it affect us? So it's affecting us. But what it's doing is it's literally bringing light to dark spaces inside of us. So we're having to deal with our shadow. We're having to deal with the parts of ourselves that have been hidden, and it's bringing more light in. So it's the spiral, right? Because every time you come back around, if you're going to expand, there's more expansion, which is Jupiter. Jupiter is expansion. It's always going to be bringing light to the darker places. It's always going to be expanding. And you're going to be embodying more. You're going to be embodying more of yourself, and through that process, you'll be integrating your shadow, integrating the deeper aspects of yourself. So, and also, in that process, it's non-linear. It's not planned. It's not strategic. It's not controllable. It's wild. That is wildness. Wildness at its core is the foundation of it, is the spiral of energy that rules all life in the universe. Wildness is life. It's that deep vital chi, that urge to continue to expand and become awake and aware. And all of us are in it. All of us are a part of it. And it's what makes things, it's part of wildness, though, is honoring the mystery of how things come together and work, and starting to work in a non-linear way where you start to honor the cycles of nature. I mean, science, sure, it can go in and measure every little single bit of how a flower blooms and why, but those are just man-made constructions and measurements that we have to try to make sense of our reality. Like, the truth is, we don't know. What do we know? Right? Like, knowledge is a man-made thing. And honoring nature is really honoring this kind of deep mystery that lives inside of all of life. And, religion, where we've dealt with all of these hierarchies throughout time. Religion instituted a patriarchal world order. Even before that, many societies, civilizations, there's always an order, And we're kind of we're starting to move beyond that. There's always like this placement of how humans, we've tried to understand our reality, and past that we created science after religion. These are all like systems of organizing reality so that we can try to understand ourselves better. But always through that process, there's like a control of the mystery. Science cannot deal with unknowns. Quantum science can, I believe. But Newtonian science, no. That's my issue with science, because you can't always know everything. And it's like a mother that is nurturing a child in her womb. It's called the womb for a reason, and it's dark, and it gestates, and it's developing, and it's mysterious. And there's a lot of energy, and there's a lot of unknowns of how exactly it works. And yeah, we can measure it, we can understand, and we can do that. But the act itself is a miracle. Just as birth is a miracle. It's unknown. It's this incredible thing that is the function of life. And starting to allow oneself to dance and exist inside of the mystery without needing, and also with that, to fundamentally begin to trust it. That's kind of what I'm seeing with this full moon, because we have that mutable cross activating the nodes. We've got Jupiter going into Cancer, and all of these are really like kind of it's just a more and more and more of an activation of that surrendering process, which is ultimately what really sheds one's identities, which is what the year of the snake is about. These old ways of being that have been very toxic, materialistic, exhaustive, extractive, and moving deeper into the essence of what is one's truth about the nature of reality, and one's own energetic, intuitive truth about where they're heading, and beginning to honor that, moving out of the head into the heart, into the gut. So, wildness, it's like, this week I just had this like profound realization about trusting in the wild. And it was all spurred. It was all, came from Ocean, that wild wolf. I mean, he was a familiar for me. He was a spirit guide in this lifetime for me. And the fact that he literally chose to free fall into the unknown without any quote unquote safety net, you know what I mean? Because his spirit impelled him to, because his instincts directed him to go live wild and free, and to trust in the natural cycles. And as I've thought about it, I've really thought about this, because he had a pretty sweet life with my sister. She fed him like fresh chicken, and he had a buddy, Radar, and it was another dog, and they lived on a farm, and it was pretty good. And it's that expansion, right? And my sister and I really would talk this through, because the spiral, we're always expanding in this life. So if we don't allow ourselves to expand our consciousness, expand ourselves, expand our sense of identity, which means letting go, surrendering the old versions of ourselves, and growing, allowing, moving with the wild current. That is wildness. It's this expansion of the self, and the desire to be more, feel more, connect more. Yeah, and the fact that he just chose that. And then it's funny, because my sister and I, we've been pulling tarot like separately about him, and we've been pulling the same cards. We're pretty witchy. It's a pretty witchy family, but And we both keep getting the same cards, and a lot of them are like the sun, the magician. It's like very clear that this animal is like aware of what he's doing and creating and moving with the flow of his joy and vitality and where life is and where his wildness is. And when we trust in that, and I am also getting the message that he's going to be good. I'm getting very clear messages that like he's got a good life and that he's going to be having an even better, like, and he's creating that for himself. And that's what the magician is. That's what the magician archetype is. So it's like, having a sovereign kind of control over your reality. And it's funny because, yes, on the one hand, there's wildness that is ever expanding our perception and experience of reality that is the natural order. Yet it's unknown. It's unknown how it comes into being. And we have the power to use our imagination to help shape that becoming, if that makes sense, which is where we start to have sovereignty. But it's a dance in between the expansion of ourselves and then what we are focusing on, where we see ourselves going, right? Because we can spiral into whatever. So it's really keeping your focus centered on where you are getting led, because you are getting messages, you are getting inspired. If you pay attention to your wildness and your vitality and your sense of instinct and intuition as to where you may be heading, that's kind of been the downloads I've been getting about how like. And so this whole like Jupiter going into Cancer and this mutable cross we're having on the full moon and just this kind of really letting go. It's a quantum leap kind of moon, and it has a lot to do with trusting in the wild, like rhythm of the divine and your own wildness and the feelings you're getting around what is being created. Because as all these structures outside of us are collapsing, there is new information because we are ever expanding, right? We're expanding past these structures. The spiral is moving. And Mother Earth, Gaia, all of us humans, all of us sensitive ones, attuned to the energetics, we're listening. So it's just a beautiful time. It's a beautiful time if we just allow ourselves to kind of trust in nature, trust in what's going on. But so as systems are collapsing, and what I feel with Cancer, Jupiter going into Cancer is Mother Nature is going to be expanding inside and outside of us. So there's going to be a lot more reverence for the creatures of the earth and for ourselves, how we nurture the earth and our home on earth and internally and externally. So what does it mean to nurture yourself? Like, are you paying attention to your inspirations and your intuitions and the things that you want to create? I can feel these like inklings for myself. Like it's a leveling up process of where I see myself going, and I'm listening. I can hear it and I'm listening and I'm ready. And it's just kind of making that internal choice to act in accordance with what you're feeling. Because when you do that, you're in tune with the spiral and you're in tune with the flow. And then you're kind of like, that's when you're really one with nature and you're part of the rhythm. And it's you're pretty unstoppable when you're in that flow. But it requires a massive amount of faith and trust and surrender into the divine, into the wildness and the honoring and the veneration of wildness. And it's funny because I've been thinking about that book, Women Who Run with Wolves. And that was always a big book for me. Like I used it in my master's thesis, and it's always just been the right kind of archetype It's about the wild woman archetype. And I've been thinking about it because Ocean, my like wolf dog who I loved, my familiar, is, he literally chose to go run with the wolves. So it's his choice to move in accordance with his wild nature has activated something in my side of my wildness. And that's what it means to run with the wolves. That's what I'm understanding it really means. It means that you allow your spirit to harmonize and open to the unknown and the mystery in a way it never has before. You honor that mystery. You celebrate it. You celebrate the void. And that's Cancer energy, Jupiter in Cancer. Cancer is very much about the gestation and it's that yin and yang, active, passive, active, receptive. We have to have that receptive element. And that's what's been missing in our culture for thousands of years, especially in the West, with the eradication of so many natural cultures and indigenous and Mother Earth and just all of it. We're over it. Humanity's over it. We're not doing it anymore. We don't want to do it anymore. So we are all, as we kind of begin to harmonize with our own inner nature and outer nature, with our own wildness, are beginning to run with the wolves, which is, there's all these wolves returning again. The gray wolf was introduced back, I think, into Colorado. That wildness that is not... It honors its own life force over any fear that could potentially be holding it back. It just transcends fear and it honors the cycle of nature. Because the truth is that the spiral has its own patterning if we can just allow it, which means we have to act on the inspirations and the intuitions that we're getting. So it's not a completely passive thing, but we have to be in tune enough with ourselves to know and harmonize and allow new energy and new things to come forth, which requires space. If we're too busy, if we're grinding too hard, we can't receive those messages. So that's kind of like what I'm getting for this next week. The other thing that was happening on the full moon was, Venus is opposing Lilith. So there's it's pretty awesome. This this fixed grand cross and then Lilith in the mix as well. It's just a lot of feminine activation this moon. And it's, it's requiring, the moon is in Sagittarius. Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter. Jupiter just went into Cancer. So it's like activation of Jupiterian energy. So it's going to be expanding us. But it's going to be expanding us like a reflective, intuitive, creative aspects, the yin aspects of ourselves. So I think that's what I wanted to share today. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I don't think so. I think that's about it. I love you all, and I hope you have a lovely rest of your week, and I'll talk to you soon. Okay, bye-bye.